Welcome back to my LC vlog channel, and today I'm going to be making a whole lot of candles, and I'm going to show you how to make candles today, what you need, the process, the steps, the science behind it, and also CLP labels as well. I have down on my little daily planner what I want to make today, and this is my LC planner that I actually made. It's available on my website just for a small fee, so if you are looking for a digital work planner that's very just like basic, straightforward, easy to use, then definitely go check this out. The link is in my bio, and on here I just write down the plan for the day and what candles I need to make and any tea lights I need to make, wax melts, etc. It's all like hyperlinked and everything, so it's really easy to use, and you basically just write on it and customize it as you like. It's very straightforward, very basic, monthly overview and daily overviews. So today I want to make lavender look candles, the Snug, Peony Blush, Parisian Spring, and I need to make some Celebrate tea lights as well. I planned out my schedule for my day, so hopefully I won't overrun. I'm pretty much straight on time for making candles and making tea lights, so that's great. And yes, so we're going to get straight into what actually you need to make candles. So for starters, you need some wax and this could be a wax of your choice. I would say if you're new to making candles, definitely test out different wax to see what works best for you. You need some jars. You also need some wicks. Once again, you need to test for the size of the jars, for the diameter and the wax you're using as well. So there is a lot of science and testing involved when making candles. It's not as straightforward and easy as it sounds. You do need to test any new products that you do create to make sure that everything works well together. You need some fragrance oil. You also need some wick pads to stick down your wicks in your jars. There are some added extras such as like centering tools that you can use. Other optional extra is a lid, or you can use a dust cover for your candles. I use both. The extra items that you will need to actually make the candle is a jug. You will also need some scales, and you'll also need something to mix the fragrance oil and the wax together. You also need a thermometer, so you can make sure that you're adding the fragrance oil to the wax at the right temperature. If it's too hot, you can end up burning off that fragrance, which you don't want to do. So they're the items that you will need. The actual process for making candles it's quite basic, but at the same time not. So you need to obviously melt your wax, and you need to melt it to the temperature that is stated on the information for that wax that you have purchased. And once you've got the wax to the temperature that is of that melting point, you also need to know how much wax will basically fit in your jar. I use Candle Shack's fragrance calculator online. It's very easy, straightforward to use. And basically you put in how much wax your jar can take. When you buy the fragrance oil, it will tell you how much is a maximum amount of fragrance oil that you are to put in your wax. Normally it's 10%, but also check the information of the wax that you're using to make sure that it can actually hold 10% fragrance oil as well. So you can put the information into this fragrance calculator, and it will basically tell you how much wax you need and how much fragrance oil you need as well. And this is kind of like a game changer for me. When if it's normally 10%, you can normally work it out. So if it's 200 grams, you need 20 grams of fragrance oil. However, if your candle is a 200 gram candle, you're going to have too much because it's going to be 220 grams. So you'd actually need 180 grams of wax and then 18 grams of fragrance. So you'd be slightly under the 220 grams allowance. So the fragrance calculator online, you literally put your information into it and it gives you what you need straight away without you having to sit down and work out the mathematics of everything. So once you know how much wax you need, you know how much fragrance oil you need, then it's a case of making the candle. So obviously you want to get your jar set up correctly first. You need your wick, you need your wick pad. Like I said, you need to test your wicks with your wax and your fragrance oil, so bear that in mind if you are new to making candles. So once you've got your jar ready, it's a case of then measuring out the wax in a jug on your scale. So you'll measure out how much wax you need as per what the fragrance calculator online has told you to use. Pop your thermometer into the wax, and once it's got to the desired temperature, and once again this information is normally supplied on the supplier's website. It tells you what temperature to add that fragrance oil in. I would say though, if you are, you know, really taking it seriously, do a lot of testing. I add my fragrance in at a temperature that works well for me through testing, and I feel like it works well to the contribution of the fragrance rose. So definitely do some testing when adding your fragrance oil into your wax at certain temperatures. You can do different candles and just write down at what point you've added in that fragrance oil at what temperature, so then you can keep track of it and you can just basically keep a log of what works best for you, the fragrance oil and the wax that you are using. Once your wax is down to the ideal temperature, you can then pour in your fragrance oil, once again at the recommended amount online or what you've worked out yourself. Obviously don't go over the recommended amount for the fragrance oil supplied on the supplier's website, and also for the wax that is supplied on the supplier's website. Once you poured your fragrance oil into that wax, you just need to give it a really good stir to make sure you're mixing as much of that fragrance oil into the wax as possible. Once it's all mixed in, after about a minute of stirring, I let the wax settle for a little bit just to let those air bubbles disperse. But once I'm happy that it's settled enough, I will then pour my wax into the candle jar. Now if you've made enough wax for one candle, you don't need to add your candle jar to the scale to make sure you've got the right amount, because you've already got the right amount in the jug with the wax and the fragrance oil. If you have enough to make multiple candles, you might want to add the candle jar to the scales to then measure out the correct amount that you'll be selling that candle at. If you're making it for your own use at home, it doesn't matter at this stage, but if you are selling on that candle, you need to make sure that you are providing what is said on the actual label, if not more. So if you say your candle is a 220 gram candle and you're selling it at 210 grams, then it's false advertising and it's just not going to look great for you if anyone finds that out. If you are stating that you're putting 220 grams into that candle, you need to make sure that there is 220 grams or more in that candle. Once you poured your wax into the jar, put your jar aside and let that cool. You might be tempted after 24 hours to burn that candle, but I would say let that candle cure for as long as possible before you light it, to get a true idea of what that fragrance flow is like in that candle, to make sure fragrance oil has had enough time to cure within that wax so you can get that true idea of what the candle actually smells like. Sometimes it is, like I said, really, you know, you want to burn it straight away once it's set and just give it a good test run, and you might be a little bit like, oh, it's not as strong as I would have liked it to be. Maybe I didn't add enough fragrance oil, maybe I need to add more. You know, you could go through that whole process of thinking about what went wrong. However, if you let it cure for like a week and then you burn that test candle, it's going to smell a lot stronger, a lot better, and you're going to get a true representation of what that candle actually smells like. There is a lot of science to candle making, and sometimes it takes a while to get to the point where you want to burn your candles or sell your candles. You want to make sure you are creating products that people really enjoy, that are down to an excellent standard. Don't cut corners if you are thinking of selling candles. Once you have created your candles and you're happy with them and you want to sell your candles, you need to make sure that you are CLP compliant. There is a lot of information online about how to be CLP compliant. Definitely do a lot of research into this if you are thinking of selling your candles. Every single website that I purchase from provides the SDS information for that candle, so you can go on there, and if they don't provide a little image with what you exactly need to include for your CLP label, they will at least provide the information that you need to put into your CLP label. I now use, if I buy any fragrance oils through Candle Shack, they now have a brilliant online CLP tool that is very easy to use. I use that for my Candle Shack fragrances now, and then I also use that layout when I'm creating other CLP labels with fragrance oils from different companies. I create all my CLP labels on Canva, it's really easy to do, and then I print them all at home myself. But when you are creating candles to sell, make sure that you are creating CLP labels are compliant, because if not, you can really get caught out on that. So definitely do a lot of research into what your CLP labels should include, from all the information down to the warning labels, down to your address and your phone number. It needs to all be on that CLP label. So that's how you make candles, and now I'm actually going to show you just the whole process of me making a whole bunch of candles in a nice little montage for you. If you do have any questions about anything that I've mentioned in this video, please leave them in the comments below and I will get back to you. And also check out loads of my other videos, because I vlog all the time and stick a video up on YouTube every Sunday. So yeah, let's get on to the montage.